Now, it's lunchtime.
You've seen lots of fighting games in the past, like Street Fighter and things like that, where you have animators actually just animate the characters fighting, but it's always in 2 dimensions. And so recently games have gone into 3 dimensions, so you have these, the ability to do spinning, fighting kicks in 3 dimensions and actually deliver pain from all directions. The problem is you have guys that are kind of programmers and artists sitting in the office trying to make up martial arts, and they really don't know true martial arts. And so here, we've got the unique opportunity of having, Wu Ping actually direct our fighting. And so when you're playing this video game, you're actually going to be playing his stunt actors just delivering fantastic 3-dimensional fighting moves in true Kung Fu. Larry and Andy are both really avid video game players, and so they really care. They really want this to be a good game, and they are just giving us as much access as we need to make a good video game.
We're planning a series of animated short subjects that will kind of take the world from the world we're in today to the world of the Matrix and how we got there. We have assembled a team of unbelievably talented and renowned Japanese animation directors and artists to create a series of short films that will be accessible either on the internet or eventually on DVD.
One of the things that I wanted to get out of Animatrix was to put Andy and Larry's vision of The Matrix, which is this crazy, cutting-edge sci-fi action movie, together with the gods of Japanese animation and see what would come out of that. Andy and Larry are doing 5 stories for us and having the Japanese directors expand from there, and the remaining Japanese directors are doing original stories. Yoshiaki Kawajiri is a longtime director at Madhouse Studios, and he's also probably the director that we're working with who's most well-known in the United States.
Kawajiri directed the really great animated movie called Ninja Scroll, and also Vampire Hunter D, which is coming out. He's doing an original story that he came up with, which he worked with Larry and Andy, and it's really spectacular.
分色調がアーティスティックな魅力的な、とにかく映像の面でも、それからストーリーの持っていき方でも、ちゃんとメジャー作品に仕上がってるってところも非常に感心したし。
The program takes place within a training program, a simulation, and it's this Akira Kurosawa-style ninja epic, which eventually works its way back into the world that we know from The Matrix.
いうプロジェクトだったんで、その辺ではそのくくりはあるんですけど、かなりいろんなストーリーを持ってこれるんじゃないか、その辺が非常に興味深かったということと、それからもう一つは短編のオムニバス共作ということで、かなり力があるスタッフとの共作っていう部分では結構燃える部分があるなと。
The other episode that Kawajiri wrote, which is called A World Record, is about a guy who, through sheer physical power, is able to break through into the real world. World Record is being directed by Takeshi Koike, also at Madhouse Studios.
それはもう映像的にまず素晴らしい、圧倒されたっていうことですかね。話っていうかマトリックスの世界自体がかなり作り込まれてて、見れば見るほどなんか謎が解けてきて、理解してくればしてくるほど面白く見える。 とかかなり気に入ってます。ドムファンの作品もそうだと思いますけども、見たことないものを提供できると思うので、映像的にもストーリー的にも楽しんでみてほしいなと思います。
Maeda-san, who directed Blue Submarine 6, is doing one of the episodes that is more or less a prequel to the first movie, and it kind of details the war between man and the machines.
まあ、もともと僕ちっちゃい頃から SF 映画ものすごく好きです。マトリックスのがアメリカの方で公開されて、でその噂が日本に入ってきて、ちょっとずつ映像なんかがメディアに露出し始めた頃に、でその中で割とこうやろうとしていたようなビジョンっていうか、それ綺麗にこうまるでこう教科書のようにこうするんだよ、綺麗にやられちゃったような感じでした。
Larry and Andy created the world that the anime would live in, and some of the stories they actually wrote. One of them, which is being produced by Square, who is the production entity that made the movie Final Fantasy. It's a story that deals with information that directly relates to the movie, and I think it'll be very effective to see it, and then of course see The Matrix Reloaded, the next sequel. It's really incredible how we continue to kind of mine the Eastern cinema. We worked with Wu Ping and his team on the Hong Kong choreography, and now we're kind of moving into the Japanese animation directors. I mean, we're intending to put the animes out in a kind of regular basis beginning in about a year, which will hopefully whet the appetite of our fans for the sequel to come, which will come probably a year later.
From the beginning, the website was full of things that standard promotional movie websites don't have. It was full of content. It was full of ideas that were beyond just a website saying, go see our movie. There was a really interesting game on the website. There was interesting information on the website. And the website also allowed fans to come together and to talk and to marvel over the movie. And it was remarkable to read some of these people because they got such incredible stuff out of it. And we just kept a kind of a free association of dialogue and information back and forth. Early on, the boys had this notion of comic book stories that would expand the world of the Matrix into another medium. So they employed a series of high-end comic book artists and writers to create small comic books that existed on the web, that was on the website. There's so many things we're planning for the future, particularly in cyberspace.
After seeing the movie and not being able to get it out of my mind, I wanted to affiliate myself with others that had experienced the same thing. And so I went to the Matrix site, the Warner Brothers site.
I think that first night I stayed online for hours. I think I was averaging about 5 or 6 hours online in the chat room.
We've all come together in a real strange way over a movie, which is pretty weird.
I have made several friends that I knew strictly online first, and then as the acquaintance grew, we decided to get together and become real-world friends.
Folks that I would have never gotten to meet otherwise, who I feel lovingly close to, because this movie has made me see who they are as themselves.
We're so much in each other's lives right now. We're a part of each other's lives. I mean, we're at the point now, it's your last will and testament should have an internet clause that says you must email these people in the event that I die. So they know, you know, what happened to me.
How many times have you seen it, Kira?
It's over 40. I stopped counting at like 35, 30, something like that. The Matrix came out. I saw the movie, and then all of a sudden, things like turned around for me. I had a very large paying job in 2 months, no time. I believed that this was going to happen for me, and the Matrix seemed to really hold that into place. I found that what I wanted came because I believed that it would come. And this is what Morpheus tells Neo. You have to believe in not only yourself, but in what you want in the world, and it will happen.
Beyond being very enjoyable, I thought in a way it was inspiring. It was more thought-provoking than I expected. I mean, I'm not one to believe in such a reality as some fans I think sometimes like to push. Oh wow, what if that was real?
I bet it opened a lot of eyes to, you know, people's own individual fears or insecurities.
It didn't really make me question anything because you always kind of have those questions already. So, but I just thought it was a great story, and it kind of put into thoughts that I've had before. That even though life can be a dream type thing, you should still kind of live it. And I've kind of thought, like I said, I've thought this is someone's sick, twisted dream of like my life is, and I should still just kind of live it though and try to make it seem better.
I think the idea that the world around us being an illusion, I think it's dangerous. I think it's pathological, and I think that it's taken to its logical end doesn't really facilitate having a happy life.
Well, fan fiction is it's an old phenomena. You know, authors have been writing about other people's work for years. Fan fiction is particularly when fans of a particular film or a TV show or even a series of books are inspired by another person's work and decide to write their own stories, taking those characters or perhaps just the setting and pursuing their own ideas, exploring their own ideas.
Fan fiction's like taking the original idea, like let's say by the brothers, and kind of putting something that you liked about it and developing that more. Like if you kind of wanted to go into Cypher's true feelings, you'd write about that. Seeing how the brothers never wrote about it, you're kind of taking somewhat credit for something you didn't write, but you're just kind of taking the idea of it and writing on about it.
The person might watch The Matrix and decide, well, you know, what if the agents won? Or even something like that, you know, or what if Cypher isn't dead? And they'll take that what if and write a story about it.
There is a fan fiction that a friend of ours on the board has written that surmises that there are actually someone viewing us in space or somewhere who actually gave the brothers the idea to make the Matrix so that we would be aware of the fact that we are all still in our pods.
Where are they?
We had to build a set which was about 18 inches wide, I think, 6 foot deep and about 46 feet high. It was a really odd-shaped set.
Since it was dark on the camera side, the light had to come through the top, and it had to go 4 stories and still hold its intensity without being super bright at the top and being nothing at the bottom. As they get lower, more and more lights come on, so that it looks like it's the same light, but it's actually intensifying enormously.
Go!
Physical effects had to build all of this lathe and plaster so it could break away. The stunt guys had to come in there and needed to be able to control the actors, or at least their doubles, in this kind of in a controlled descent mode.
The
fight in the bathroom is much scrappier than any of the other fights because it's in a confined space.
We built a very basic flattage set, and then Wu-Ping and his team went in there and rehearsed it. And it started off at one size, and eventually it was kind of like half the size. And they just rehearsed in it and figured out what they wanted.
So it was a much more brutal Western-style fight, if you like.
There were a few trouble spots. I have allergies, and it was in a warehouse, and it was really dusty. They kept putting the power dust on us, that white stuff that they covered me with. So I was sneezing uncontrollably.
I remember changing camera angles a little bit. At one stage, we had to change a few little bits of the fight. I had to block a shot from Lawrence.
Hugo's punching Lawrence's fist as he's trying to throw a punch. He steps and punches the punch. And it was very split-second timing. They did it a couple times, and then it was like the third take. Wham! They hit fists, and you heard this like sort of crack, nappled crack. It was just like,
I'm sorry. I thought I'd broken my wrist one day, and it blew up, and so lots of little things like that. It was actually all right in the end.
I think I hit Hugo in the chest at some point.
And I got kicked in the ribs, and both my ribs were cracked. But that was something, again, I didn't discover some way down the track. But it was a kind of dirty, you know, dirty fight.
Hey, what's happening?